Sometimes the best therapy is with another Cassandra sister who understands. This story is very personal, very deep. I am dedicated to sharing the experiences that happen inside of our home that are very much kept secret for a very good reason. The Cassandra syndrome is a bit of a window that hopefully the awareness will get out there and there won't be women like me going through this baffling experience with a man who has autism. Most of our men were never diagnosed. This is a very specific neurodiverse relationship, non-autistic, autistic. I just want to say this is specific to us, to Cassandra syndrome. It is just about us and what we go through and the similarities that bring us to realize that our men are autistic, mild. My channel is about awareness because there are so many women suffering needlessly along with their partner when they don't have to. If the awareness is out there, there are a lot of people who are going to say I'm crazy, because that's what Cassandra syndrome is about. Oh, he's just narcissistic. What are you talking about? Autistic people never would act that way. That is insane. You're nuts. You're just in denial because he's narcissistic and you don't want to see it. I'm sorry, no. We Cassandra sisters know. And this story that you're about to hear is a situation that happened not too long ago. We can still write a book, do a channel, and still go through it as long as we're with our guys. I hit a breakthrough with another Cassandra sister, now understanding why I was the way I was just 2 weeks ago. I feel so much better. My health is better. I love my job. I met people at the pool today. Life is really good. And it took that breakthrough, you hear in therapy, with my friend, a Cassandra sister, to really knock it into me. So this story, stick around because it is deep and it really digs into specific issues that we go through with our guys. No matter what situation it is, it can be very similar. And if you're a Cassandra sister, you know, and you'll say, yep, oh yeah, I've been through the same. Nobody's demonized, nobody's bad, good, nothing. It's just a story of what happens in our lives. All right, here we go. Sometimes the best therapy is another Cassandra sister who completely understands. I've been in therapy for years, and I experienced something today that I want to tell you about, that I can't hold in, I have to tell you. And I'm not going to be afraid. I am going to share just exactly what happened. I moved to another state a year ago. It was a dream come true. This particular house that I found, I drew on my wall. It's funny because it was an outline of a house. I love Palm Springs. I love the desert. I love that kind of mid-century, very clean lines. Found a picture, I drew it, and I only did an outline. I looked at it every day. And I found a house in Utah. Bought the house. I was half owner with my partner. By the time I got it, my wall was kind of covered up. I stopped looking at it. But when I looked at pictures of that same wall, that house looked so similar. It was profound. Perfect house. Beautiful, pristine area. Feeling so completely blessed that I could finally live separately and be together with him. I shopped at a furniture store and the customer service was really lousy. I had trouble with the couch they sent me. It was actually the wrong couch, even though it looked the same. They refused to replace it. I wrote a letter. I like to fight for what's right. And I ended up going in the back room and I was able to get items for $10 a piece, pretty much. And I'm in tears because it was such a huge blessing to be able to get these items to make this house. I mean, this house was so perfect. I love home decorating. I love to have nice, clean things because I grew up in a very kind of dirty house. My dad was a hoarder. So I was able to create this masterpiece of a house for very little money. I think it was $400 for everything. I was able to get probably around $3,000 worth of items for $400. So a year passed, and in this particular neighborhood, I was judged. I was 54, I was in a 55 plus. And I remember going to the swimming pool and I had some cleavage showing, and the women didn't like that. They kept kind of badgering me. They were very negative to me. I remember going into the bathroom and crying because at that point I felt so judged for who I was and in this neighborhood. I moved to this particular place because I needed community, because I'd been so isolated being with my partner for so long. And it's funny, you know, I did move to a very, very religious town. I am not as religious. I am very loving of all religions. It was interesting how I knew there were good people there, and there were definitely amazing people there. I just wasn't finding them. I went to a party and the man who sat in front of me was something I wanted to get away from. I say that lovingly, but this particular man was just very familiar. I was trying to really find my retirement home because these were townhomes, one connected to another, where I felt my partner could live next door to me, basically live separately together. I had this plan. It was so disheartening. I make my house up perfectly and then I'm having these run-ins with people. And it's funny, it's hard to explain it because you may not know me at all. You may think something of me because I'm not making friends or what's wrong with me, and you start to feel that way. And I thought, like, I had that so much with my partner. I didn't want to experience that again. I just wanted healthy, normal people around me. And I kept running into, it was like I'm attracting these particular type of people that wanted to take from me and not give. It was so bizarre. I can't begin to explain how crazy it was. Now, a year goes by. I'm working a little bit. I had tried to get disability because of my constant pain, and that wasn't working. I have fibromyalgia, and I understand that it's hard to understand. I've been struggling a lot with pain, but let's go back to the Utah house. I'm trying to be careful here because this is very personal, but I think it's important to share this and what I'm leading up to. What happens in our lives with Cassandra syndrome and what we talk about when we get together might be very scary to some people. It might feel like mistreatment or the classic narcissist that uses you and then throws you away and all this stuff we hear about narcissism. There is an aspect of many of our men that may have those traits and tendencies. What I always come back to is there's a part of these particular men, and please, no, I'm not talking about all autistic people, all autistic men, not at all. This particular group that I'm talking about specifically, these men do have autism. I'm sorry to say that, they do. And they have other comorbidities that make it much harder. If you combine the narcissism with the autism, it can be very, very toxic in a relationship. And the thing is that we do love our men until there's a point where we feel like, yes, we can only have compassion so long until we finally realize, and a lot of times it's years later, that we realize, okay, sure, he can't help what he's doing, but if he feels attacked, which could be simply me saying, I need you to do this for me, or you have to do this, and that's an attack because it's something they don't want to do, then there might be an attack back on that. Because they felt attacked, they're going to attack back. Even though you didn't attack. You were just trying to converse, trying to communicate, trying to figure something out as a life with a partner. They feel like they have to get you back sometimes because you have upset them. This is scary for me to talk about, but I do talk about it in my next book. So, the Utah house, a year went by. I loved the weather. It was beautiful, but I was getting burnt out really quick and feeling even more isolated. I couldn't believe that I spent 8 years trying to get this to happen, and I moved to a place that just was not going to work out. So I simply said to my partner, I do not want to retire there. At one point, I took a lot of my stuff back to his house and just stayed there to figure things out. But he took it as I moved back. What makes it so hard to understand our relationships is this scenario. He is just assuming and looking at it from his way that, hey, it's better if she lives here. It'll save me some money. I have to do something about this house, rent it out or something. So he started to plan. He even called the realtor to rent it out without telling me. And I said, no, if you're going to rent it out, I'm going to live there and let's try to make more money. And then he would not talk to me about it. It was not any of my decision mattered. If I started to say, hey, I just don't really vibe with the place, he could not grasp any of that. I was half owner and I could have said, we're not going to sell. But I went to Nevada and I said, okay, just get me a small little house in Nevada. We'll sell this house and buy you a house here. It was all planned. Then there was this talk about we can just go there together and get the next generation home where it's 2 homes in one and finally be done. No more spending all this money. You can work remotely and travel back to over there, wherever you needed to do for work. We spent a whole day looking for houses for that. And there was never any intention to buy it. And here's the thing. There's this feeling the night before, and you're Cassandra Sister, you know what this is about. You have a conversation with your partner and decide, oh my gosh, we're gonna do this. I remember getting on the phone with a realtor, oh my gosh, we're gonna get a big house together and we'll sell our house. And of course she's excited because she's gonna get a lot more money. And plan this whole trip. We go and we found a perfect house. I even have I was looking at it today. He completely went blank. The whole trip, the whole going to houses, I needed pretty much equal living space because in the next gen homes, there was one where we could put a wall up where I could have a little more space because in the next gen homes, it's mainly the mother-in-law suite or the granny suite they call it, and it's tiny and didn't even have a stove. And I said, I want to be at least a little more equal. This particular house was perfect. And he was gone the whole day. And the realtor would try to ask him questions like, what? Or what are we, we're gonna do the small house now. So I found a perfect small house and we were gonna get a lower interest rate, getting a new house. This is really hard to say because I believe that my person is a good person. I believe that he has autism. I know he has autism. He's been diagnosed 3 times. It felt very manipulative. And what happened next was something that I blocked out. And it was basically, I'll buy you a house, we'll sell this Utah house, and it was agreed on. He signed something that said, I'll do it, get the house. I ended up signing. I thought we were getting the house. A lot of houses weren't selling on our street in Utah. I just thought, well, it'll be for sale hopefully 6 months. I was already nervous. He's not signing to buy the house in Nevada. Our house is gonna sell. Where am I gonna go? I'm starting to try to talk to people in Utah to get a place there. I'm already done with Utah. Nothing against Utah. From my experience, I just met the wrong people. Have you ever been in a situation where you just know you're not supposed to be there? Like things just keep going wrong. It was the most spiritual, healing. When I think of that year in Utah, I healed. It is a very, very concentrated spiritual religious place. It's beautiful. It was just not my place to stay for the rest of my life. So I'll always be grateful to it for that. Because I decorated it so nice with my $400 full house, it sold in 4 days, cash. Holy crap. And the realtor said, oh, it's because you made it up so nice. And I loved hearing that. And I love that my decorations, you can look it up online and see the house. You can see what I did and it's beautiful. And I've tried to recreate it here and it's still not the same. So I ended up moving back with him. And that's when I started YouTube. You have to look at situations in your life and see what good came from them. Because if I didn't move back, I wouldn't have reconnected with my amazing friend who I miss all the time, Dawn, and she told me about YouTube, and I wouldn't be here talking to you. So I went back there, lived with him. YouTube, Dawn got me through those 6 months living with him. And at that time, what happened? Now, keep in mind, I lived with him for 7 years in that particular house. And that house was making me sick. There was something with the mold. I don't know what it was. But that was the big part that pushed me to get out again. But since I'd been gone for a year, and I would travel back and forth, but since I've been gone, he got into a routine that was so rigid now. If I was isolated before, I was very isolated now. I could not live in the house and be comfortable at all. It was the most difficult thing I'd ever experienced as far as living conditions, and I was getting sicker and sicker. And I finally sat him down and I said, I can't live like this. The thing is, he always comes through. I've been here for a month, so we're renting, and he's helping me financially again, and I'm now in Nevada where I wanted to be. We didn't buy the house. And I'm renting, and I'm in a 55 plus again. I am now actually 55, so I'm legit. The people are just more my tribe, more my place. I felt comfortable right when I got here, but I've been sick and I've been sad, like really sad. What is happening to me? Why am I so dysregulated again? You know, I have to start work and all of this. But today, I drove back to Utah because a delivery was sent to the old address. Last night, knowing I was going to go back, I went into this spiral of just wondering, why am I so sad? Like, I want to be a crazy person and go there and knock on the door and make them let me live with them. I want to live there again. Get out. That's my house. Of course. But you know, like this desperate, if you've ever felt that way, where you're just, oh my gosh, I need my house back. I'm miserable. Why am I here? I got away from him again. But I haven't been well. So there's a lot of factors, but there's that one thing, that one piece where I was just grieving, leaving this house. Why am I so upset about it? So I'm on the road and I called my friend, my Cassandra Sister. She experienced everything with me. We talked daily when I was living in Utah. She understood everything. And she understands my guy because she's a Cassandra sister. And as we were talking, I thought, he promised me a house. And he went back on his word. Because so I met someone new yesterday who's a Cassandra sister. And I tried to explain to her why we sold that house in Utah. And I couldn't figure it out. And I've been blaming myself. Why did I let him sign? Why did I let that happen? Why did I move there? And just my fault the whole time. I understand how he is. I understand the lack of communication and kind of the manipulation so he gets what he wants and not disturb things and keep with his OCD and all this issues he has. And yet, I still felt like I was to blame for selling that house, that I screwed up. Dang. And it struck me like a ton of bricks. He promised me a house. All that time. Okay, we'll sell the house, buy your house in Nevada. There was actually, because I couldn't find a job in Utah either, and there was a job here waiting for me. And now I have it. It's lovely. I set all that up. This was 6 months ago. This job still took me. It struck me that, oh, that's why I moved. I was promised it was a brand new house, beautiful, just like the one in Utah, just in an area that I would like more, and it would be less expensive. I would be closer to him. It was all for us. It was all planned for us to just sell that house, get this house in Nevada, and he completely backed out on that. For some reason, I blocked all that out. It was so traumatizing that I blocked all that out. And as if I say it, and I say it right now, and hopefully you understand what a brain F this is, you know? There are terrible things in this world. And I start to think as I talk about it, because I'm always kind of excusing things like, oh, it's not that bad. It was bad. This is my life that's being played with, like a little mouse being thrown in the air. I want safety and stability like anybody would want. The reason I have been crying and upset and sick is because of that disregard. Not thinking of me whatsoever because he can't. And I need to stop blaming myself for letting it happen because I am dependent on him financially. When you're with somebody like that and you depend on them like that, you need to trust their word. And he never keeps his word. At that moment, he is protecting himself. So I'm driving there, and I'm talking to my friend, and I realize, wow, okay. I'm not going to be sad about it. I didn't want to live there. I wanted to live here. I didn't get the house. Again, I don't own half of a house. I don't have my independence. I'm completely dependent on him. I don't even have my car. I drive his car. And I have gotten more deep into dependence on him. That doesn't feel good. And the fact that I blocked it out, that he had promised to get me a place, and then having to move back with him and then back here again and all that moving, just destroying my body, I have constant pain. I mean, it's not okay. His thinking is just so different and so off on how life works and how life works with a partner. And so you get entrenched and you get to this point where you're totally dependent on them financially. I do not want to live with nothing when I'm in my 60s and 70s. I'm not going to do it. There are reasons that we stay with these guys. It's not because we like the punishment. It's not because we're, no. We have built a life. Let's end on a positive. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist. Find someone who understands. At whatever you have to do, a therapist that can help you through this. And also to find that support. I am here for you. I am beginning to run different talks. You can check out my website. I will leave everything below, and I can have a one-on-one with you. You can share your story so I can help you navigate and help you not forget those situations that we glaze over because it's so hard to understand. He can never really understand or have the compassion and empathy for me, what I'm going through. It doesn't absorb in him at all. He doesn't have that muscle to process it. He has empathy, but he doesn't know how to process and listen to what his partner's going through. Me as his partner is going to be someone who makes him do things that's outside of him, and that's not comfortable for him. So he's learned to manipulate and not keep his word, basically. I'm not angry. I am glad for my sister, my Cassandra sister, for reminding me of the wrong that was done to me. I did make it here. I actually wrote my next book when I was in Utah, so that was the good. And the good of going back with him was finding YouTube, and the good of being here now is sky's the limit. I'm going to keep working, and now I have the strength because I understand what happened. I was so baffled why I would leave my beautiful, amazing home. I could have went out of that community and found, it wasn't all that. It was more, hey, I don't want to retire here. Let's get a house here instead. Okay. And then it just didn't happen. So I had to jump all these hoops. I never want to leave it as doom and gloom because that's just not my nature. I want to say that we really need each other. I will say it over and over again. We really need each other, and I need you to find a Cassandra sister who understands. They are out there, and I'm right here. This is my thing. This gives me energy when I can help. Like my friend today helping me so tremendously. We can all help each other. There are all different levels of this. There is the beginning stages that I can help guide you through. There are the deciding to leave him, deciding to stay that I can help you with. There is the deep Cassandra syndrome where you're in such grief. I can help you with that. And we can navigate through this and have a better life because we deserve every bit of happiness. And it is you to take that step forward and to be strong and say, I am worth more than this. And I don't want to go into denial. And like what I did, I blanked it out. It was so traumatizing. Sobering. So before all that happens, if you're deciding to make a big change, you really need support. Find someone that can guide you through and someone that's there for you, because if my Cassandra sister hadn't been with me all through that Utah experience, she would not have been able to help me in such a huge way today. So you need someone long-term, you need a therapist, you need a Cassandra sister. I just can't say it enough. Just the fact that you're listening to me now is a step forward. You've got this. We work on what we have at the moment. We work on what we have at this moment right now and where you're at, and then take one step forward. Take care of yourself.